You have learnt how to write a quadratic equation in its standard form. An equation of the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0 is called the standard form of a quadratic equation. In this animation, you will learn how to solve quadratic equations by factorization. Let's first learn what the roots of a quadratic equation are. Suppose we have a quadratic equation. Now let us substitute the value of x with 5 on the left-hand side of the equation. We see that the value of the left-hand side of the equation becomes 0. The value of the right-hand side of the quadratic equation is also 0. So, when the value of x is 5, the right-hand side and the left-hand side of the equation become equal. So we can say that 5 is a root of the quadratic equation. We can also say that 5 is a 0 of the quadratic polynomial. You must have already learnt that a quadratic polynomial can have a maximum of 2 zeros. So, a quadratic equation can have a maximum of 2 roots. Let's look at how the roots of the quadratic equation given here can be found by factorization. We have a quadratic equation. 2a square minus 6a plus 4 is equal to 0. Here the first term is 2a square. The middle term is minus 6a and the last term is 4. When factorizing a quadratic equation, the sum and the product of the equation must be found. The middle term of the equation must be split such that on adding these terms, you get the sum, and on multiplying them, you get the product. The product of the equation is the product of the first term and the last term, which is 8a square. The sum of the equation is the middle term, which is minus 6a. We need to split the middle term, minus 6a, into two terms whose product is 8a square and the sum is minus 6a. We see that if we split minus 6a into minus 4a and minus 2a, both these conditions are met. We see that when we split the middle term of the quadratic equation and solve it, we get two solutions for x. These two solutions, 2 and 1, are the two roots of the quadratic equation. You can substitute the value of x for 2 or 1 and verify if the value of the left-hand side of the quadratic equation becomes 0. You have just learnt how to solve a quadratic equation by the factorization method.